This is the AEW Dynamite April 9th, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena in Greater Baltimore. The show opens with commentary welcoming us to the show and tossing to a pre-taped Death Riders promo. Jon Moxley talks about how the roster is the greatest ever but asks why none of them can get their act together when it counts. Their bodies hit the dirt and they roll back down the hill to seek comfort without addressing the real problem, which is that they don't want it. The Young Bucks have returned to play power brokers. Interesting. Jon says he's the king on the front line and says he hasn't recognized the Bucks for some time. They've stumbled onto a board and they don't know what the game is, and they better be real careful before they make any moves. Then we saw a match between Jon Moxley versus Katsuyori Shibata, and the result of this match was Jon Moxley defeated Katsuyori Shibata by submission with an arm trap body scissors sleeper hold. Post-match, the Young Bucks make their entrance before Moxley and Marina Shafir leave. Moxley simply jabs a finger at them and says something the camera doesn't catch and they leave. Nicholas Jackson gets on the mic and tells everybody to give it up for your world champion and the founding fathers of AEW. The whole world is wondering why in the hell they did what they did on Sunday. Why did they cost Shane "Swerve" Strickland the world title? And they got a couple good reasons why they did what they did. 1. They did it for their good friend Hangman Adam Page. You're welcome, buddy. This is what he wanted all along, for Swerve to never win the title again, and they did that for him. They did it as a peace offering to the Death Riders and they hope that things are all good between them now. They sat at home and they realized they have more in common than they have different, and they both want to make AEW better in much the same ways. So last Sunday was their elevator pitch to the Death Riders. Just imagine the synergy if they worked together with the Elite. Jon Moxley, the world champion, and the AEW founding fathers together? So he asks Moxley to come back out with his boys to discuss business. Instead, Kenny Omega makes his entrance, in a hoodie and shorts, clearly not coming down when he expected to. He gets on the mic from the ramp and says they did this all for their friends, huh? Moxley and Hanger, well, they forgot to do him. He said when he came back that he's doing what he does for the legacy of the company, not revenge. The part that matters, the part that pisses him off, is that it wasn't because of the Death Riders, it was the Young Bucks that almost killed the company that he gives his life, his heart, and his soul for. He can't lie, the time off has done them wonderfully. Nick looks every bit of the 90 pounds he was before he left in Matt. He sputters before saying he looks about as red as Nick's lapels with all the tanner he's wearing. Quite frankly, he could go on, but he doesn't know. Let's just cut out the middleman and fight. He gets to the apron, but Okada makes his entrance. Before he can get to the ring, Shane Strickland's music hits and he and Prince Nana come into the ring from behind and send the Elite scurrying up the ramp. Omega and Strickland bump fists and the Best Bout Machine takes his leave. Swerve gets on the mic and says he pronounces it buck hunting season, and he's ready to blast some EVP's pack attacks Swerve from behind and puts boots to Swerve. Choking him in the corner, referee Stephon Smith pulls him off. Then we saw a match between Pac versus Shane "Swerve" Strickland, and the result of this match was Shane Strickland defeated Pac by pinfall with the Swerve Stomp.
I have a huge announcement for you. If you are a fan of intense, hard-hitting action scenes that you rarely see on YouTube, then introducing our sponsor, BigScreenAction.com to you, the ultimate destination for extreme action and adrenaline-pumping fight scenes. Check out the Dark Avengers, one of the thrilling clips that you are watching right now on your screen. Big Screen pushes action and drama to the next level. If you are a true high-octane entertainment fan, this is the place where you need to be.
Renee Paquette is backstage trying to get an interview with Hangman Page and he doesn't know what to say about the wildcard and he's on his own business. The camera follows him as he storms into a locker room and asks Prince Nana where the hell Swerve is. He makes it clear he wasn't helping Swerve at Dynasty and tells him to stay out of his way in the Owen or he'll pick right up where he left out. He goes to leave and Nana stops him and says he's been wanting to tell him that he really regrets. Hanger tells him to stop, not another word. He doesn't get to apologize. Then we saw a match between Beast Mordo's crew and Ricochet versus Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Will Ospreay, and the result of this match was Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Will Ospreay won the match by pinfall with Hidden Blade from Ospreay on Beast Mordo's, winning $400,000 to split among themselves. The ring is set up for the Hurt Syndicate's championship celebration and they make their entrance and Montel Vontavious Porter gets on the mic. He says this is an official announcement from the Hurt Syndicate. Punks jump up to get beat down. 2 more challengers stepped up and 2 more challengers got beat down. So if you'd all be so kind, join him and his colleagues in a toast to celebrate yet another successful defense. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin put the titles on a podium as Montel pours himself a glass and Bob and Shelton crack bottles for a toast. They hold their drinks up, and MJF makes his entrance. Max acts like he's part of the group and says Tony Khan wanted him to do the Owen and Y, so he can wrestle every week and sweat his balls off like some schmuck? He works smarter, not harder, and now that he's rolling with the Syndicate he'll get to cut the line and take his world title back. This is a perfect business relationship. He scratches their back because they couldn't win without him and now they get to help little old him and everybody wins. Lashley tells him to shut his mouth. Everybody saw what he did last week. He tried to help, and that's really cute, but he didn't get the job done, so that's yet another reason why they don't need MJF. MVP tells everyone they know how he feels about Max, but in order to join the Hurt Syndicate he needs 3 thumbs up. Everybody knows MVP is a thumbs up, and Shelton? Benjamin gives him the thumbs down and Bob hugs him and thanks him, and the tag team champions take their leave. Montel looks at Max and shrugs and leaves with them, and furious MJF shoves the camera out of his face and stomps around the ring, and again MVP shrugs at him. Renee Paquette interviews Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford backstage, and Ford says they had a taste of defeat but it changes nothing. Toni Storm barely survived, and everything is only going to get worse, because Bayne will not let the division move on, and she doesn't care who or how many. Megan swats Penelope out of the way and says she'll make you bow down. Then we saw a Owen Hart Foundation Tournament quarterfinals match between Chris Statlander versus Thunder Rosa, and the result of this match was Chris Statlander defeated Thunder Rosa by pinfall with Wednesday Night Fever. Chris Jericho makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says he is the legendary Chris Jericho, but he is no longer the ROH World Champion. Jericho said Bandito won the title and saved his mask, with the assistance of his intrusive siblings and stooge of a mother, but he gets it, he's got his family, and he has his. So he's gonna bring his family out, and he introduces Brian Keith and Big Bill Morrissey. Jericho says he was hoping all 3 of them would have championships tonight, but they didn't win the tag titles, did they? And that's why he wanted to. Big Bill takes the microphone from him and said he knows he's angry and he has every right to be angry, because he's angry too. Jericho said he believes in both of them and cares about them, and handpicked both of them to teach them and help them, and he doesn't need to help anybody if he doesn't want to. They're future world champions, and that's why their victories are his victories and their failures are his failures. And that's why he's empathetic for Big Bill not being there when he lost the ROH World Championship, and some might say it was his fault, but he's not saying that. He smacks the TV with Floyd and repeats over and over again that he's disappointed as he smashes the TV screen. He's disappointed in them, and until they change that, he thinks it's best that he leaves. Brian talks animatedly at Big Bill as Jericho leaves to the tune of "Na Na Hey Hey Kiss Him Goodbye." The Hurt Syndicate are interviewed backstage and Shelton Benjamin agrees that they don't need anybody, but little George Costanza is kinda funny. MJF rolls up to talk with MVP privately, and MVP said he's a businessman and he knows the answer to problems like this is figuring out what your consumer wants and giving that to him. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Death Riders versus the Ops, and the result of this match was the Ops defeated Death Riders by submission with Red Rung from Hook on Wheeler Yuta. Post-match, Marina Shaffer hits the ring with a chair and takes Joe out. Shibata rushes in and gets cleared out. Claudio opens a chair upside down, Gotch lift, hits neutralizer into the legs and crossbar of the chair. Samoa Joe returns, chair in hand, and Death Riders run away through the crowd. Joe gets on the mic and calls the Death Riders out. He wants to make it real simple, the Ops versus Death Riders, and they're coming for the Trios Championship. Joe stares menacingly down the barrel of the camera and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's AEW Dynamite show? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.